I'm doing my own thing. If you want the pennant, you gotta make a way. Lou Carlo.
You made?
Sibling dinner. It's a little nippy outside right now.
Yep.
Birthday girl. You know I gotta put this on the vlog.
Why?
Joey's the first one that knocked down the first old fashioned.
I'm lightweight. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Joey, the Chardonnay,
Hello.
I was trying to think of a C, but I couldn't think of one.
Connoisseur.
Yeah, it's only been 2 courses. And they trying to get a nigga fucked up. But I ain't gonna go like that. Yeah, I gotta disown my sister. She's not trained up. She's poured all of the facing the feet right there. Sponsored by
Regatta.
Cubano? Oh wait, no, Bermuda.
Huh?
What you say?
Oh, it seems like shredded apple.
Why you holding my?
Exactly. So this is the barrel proof, which I think is probably the flagship of the portfolio.
Really?
And then
What you looking at? Leaving. Sean, I'm this block right there.
It was good.
Joy, are you sober?
Y'all lit. No.
she shouted at him. Welcome back to Legend of Lou Carlo Sibling Reviews. So, you know, I took my oldest sister out for her birthday to Bobby Van's Grill, which is a steakhouse in DC, and they have special events every month or maybe every couple months. So I just happened to be looking on their menu a month ago when we went just for the regular steakhouse, and I saw this event. I was like, oh, I gotta go. So I decided to take my oldest sister, and it was a Jack Daniel's whiskey dinner. And so I'm gonna let Joy go through her experience, and I'll give some color commentary if I can think of anything. So Joy, what did you think about the reception? When we first got there, we went downstairs, and they said, "Oh, this is the little welcome reception," before the dinner even started. What did you think about the reception?
I was a little bit confused about the structure at first because I didn't hear them say that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting that they started us off with some complimentary old fashions, and it was my first time having an old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it wasn't bad, but might be a bit strong for my palate. But it was smoother than I expected.
I mean, they were made pretty well, and it's funny that actually the manager was the one who was bartending for the event. So he was interacting with us. He surprisingly, I thought it would just be one old fashioned until everybody got there, but he refilled our drinks when we didn't even expect it. So we were already 2. I don't know if we got a third one, but we were at least 2 old fashions in before we even started our meal. I was already hungry. I hadn't eaten for 5 hours before this, so they were starting to creep up on me. Nothing crazy, but I could feel it coming already. So eventually, there was maybe about 25 people who came, and once everybody was there, they took us to this one room, and it was a long dining table. It looked like a family style dining table. You know, like in the movies of a mansion. It was a long, and so we just sat around the table, and it's just kind of funny because no one knows each other. You know, everybody came in groups of 2, maybe 3 people. So you know, everybody's just talking to each other, trying to figure out what's going on. And then they brought out the appetizer, which was the first course. Joy, what did you think about that? The first course. Do you remember what it was?
I think so. The first course was Virginia ham, bread and butter pickles, and is it pimento cheese, and rosemary honey biscuits.
Oh wow, you got a good memory.
Oh.
You studied that menu, huh?
No, it was just those are some of the best from scratch biscuits I've ever had from a restaurant.
Wow, better than Red Lobster.
I don't know. It was my first time trying pimento cheese, and that was an interesting experience. But I can understand why people would love to eat that on crackers. I personally don't care for bread and butter pickles, but these actually weren't too bad. The Virginia ham, it kind of tasted like regular honey smoked ham to me.
Mm-hmm. It was a nice compliment to the cheese, I'll say, to the biscuits.
The highlight was definitely those biscuits. I could eat a lot more of them.
Yeah, and my oldest sister said she thought that was the best dish of the whole night, because them biscuits and the pimento cheese was really good. And then they served it with the triple mash, the Jack Daniel's triple mash, and that was what most people at the table thought was their favorite whiskey. Now, I'm not a big whiskey connoisseur. I will say the triple mash was either second or third on my list of top whiskeys of the night. It was strong, but it wasn't overpowering. It just got you just right. So then they brought us the second dish after they poured our second Jack Daniel's shot. So Joy, what did you think about the second dish?
What was the second one again?
So the second dish was the braised pork cheeks with black bean puree, whiskey, and apple compote. Compote. I don't know. We're not cultured enough.
The braised pork cheeks are very good. Very tender, very juicy. It's personally, I'm not too big on sweets, and the apple compote, it was too sweet for me. But I feel like if you really like strongly apple flavored things, like apple pie or something, you probably would like it. But paired with the meat, the sweetness was almost too much. I mean, I was kind of eating a bite of the apple capote with a bite of meat and the bite of the black bean puree to try to balance out the savoriness and the sweetness. But the apple capote was really strong.
So I kind of agree. I think it was nice how they balanced it. I just think the proportions were off. So I think they gave a lot of the apple. I say compote. So I think they gave a lot of that apple compared to how much beans they gave you, because it was a small portion of beans. It was a decent size of the pork cheeks, but in terms of just the ratio, I can see why it leaned over to the sweet side. Like, I don't know if you finished all of the apple.
It was a lot,
but yeah, it was a little bit more of that.
I would have taken more meat.
And so they paired that with the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select. So this was probably, I think this may have been my top choice in terms of the whiskey. I waited till I completely finished the second course, so I can't really say how well it paired, but I think it was nice and strong, but it didn't leave too much of an aftertaste in my mouth, and that's kind of what I liked. And I could see myself just casually drinking it over ice next time, but I could see myself casually drinking it. And so then to the next course, the third course, it was the Jack Daniel's glazed St. Louis style ribs with smoked apple and fennel slaw. So you see they're sticking with the apple. Joy, what did you think about that?
Well, I guess since the menu is kind of fall themed, the apple kind of makes sense in retrospect. The apple slaw was really interesting. I never thought I would eat something that visually looks like coleslaw, but it tastes like apple. I've never seen an apple so thinly shredded before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the fennel.
And I guess paired with such an earthy like herb, it was an interesting contrast. I guess I would say I liked it, but they gave us a lot of it compared to how much meat we had, and I was trying to do with like what I did with the last course.
How many ribs did you get?
3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. I would try to eat a bite of meat and a bite of the apple coleslaw.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the ribs were really good. They were nice and tender. They were well seasoned. It was definitely too much apple.
Yeah, I got 3 ribs too. I think I just got the bad luck because I'm not a rib. I'm not a rib eater that much. That sounds like I'm a carnivore, but the piece of rib I got didn't have as much meat as everybody else, and so I'm trying to be fancy and cut the ribs off the bone.
They gave us a steak knife for it, so
yeah,
I thought
they did.
that's what we're supposed to do.
But I think the flavor wise, I thought the flavor was really good, and then they paired that with the single barrel rye. Now that single barrel rye, personally, it just kind of tasted like Jack Daniels. At this point, the drinks were kind of hitting, so they were starting to all taste the same. You got something strong hitting your chest, and you just want to finish it so you can get on to the next course. So that's what we're going to do. With the 4th course, we had the cherry smoked beef tenderloin, and that came with whiskey and brown sugar glazed heirloom carrots with butternut squash and fennel puree. Joy, what was your opinion on that?
I really liked the tenderloin. It mostly reminded me of a steak, and like it was perfectly seasoned on the outside, juicy on the inside. Although mine was a bit more medium rare than I would have expected, but it's like I liked it. What was the side thing for that one?
The heirloom carrots with the butternut squash.
I don't really care for cooked carrots personally, or super sweet carrots, so I completely skipped the carrots, but the tenderloin was very good. And that whiskey was, I think, the strongest whiskey out of all the ones we had.
Yeah, so they gave us the Jack Daniels Barrel Select Barrel Proof Bourbon. And so this bourbon, they said, was 132 proof. And they were saying that that's one of the Jack Daniels' second strongest bourbon or drink in general that they have. So that one, they were really trying to knock us out with that one. In terms of the food, I think the carrots, because they were sugar glazed, I thought the carrots were really good. I have a sweet tooth, by the way, too, so that might be why. The carrots and the squash gave it a nice contrast with the beef tenderloin. Mine was cooked, it was medium well as well. I mean, not medium well. It was medium rare as well, but it wasn't as raw as Joy's. Joy, I'm not gonna lie, Joy's looked kind of raw, but hers was the only one, so I think she might have just got the bad luck of the draw. But she still ate it. But I think it was because she was drunk, because she crushed it. She crushed it even though it was raw, and I was surprised. Or maybe you were hungry. I don't know what it was.
I thought about maybe sending it back, but the texture didn't bother me, and it tasted fine.
The texture, it didn't feel like
not
unnecessarily soft or anything like.
No.
Oh well, maybe it was just a little bloody.
It might have been a little bit drunk also.
Yeah, a little
at
bit.
that point too.
So, the very 5th course was the smoked and pickled peach bread pudding topped with molasses and whiskey sauce, spiced cream cheese frosting, and almond brittle ice cream, paired with a bonded Tennessee whiskey. How'd you feel about the dessert?
I liked it. It was my second time having bread pudding, and the first time I had it in a kind of cake form.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a cake than I had expected, but I liked it. It was soft and fluffy. It was mildly sweet. I think I liked the ice cream, but I guess the whiskey flavored ice cream and the whiskey flavor and the syrup underneath the bread pudding were kind of battling for dominance flavor wise to me. That plus the shot, it kind of tasted almost exclusively like whiskey.
Really?
Like I was getting like whiskey hit me 3 ways.
I think the whiskey was already in your bloodstream from all them shots he was drinking.
I mean, it was like I tasted sweetness of the bread pudding, but then the whiskey and the sauce and the whiskey and the ice cream.
Mm.
Plus, like I was sipping the shot a little bit. It was just like whiskey. It was a lot.
Yeah. Personally, as the sweets guy, I just liked it. It was the first time having a peach bread pudding, but I did like the peach added a nice little fruit, made me feel a little healthy. That was good.
No,
honestly,
it was good.
I was trying to find the cream cheese frosting. I think I may have been having a brain fart. I was like, "Where's the cream cheese?" I'm looking for the cream cheese. It was still good. Of course the ice cream just add a little bit. I wish they would have gave us more ice cream. When your mouth is super sweet, you need something to contrast. Some dairy to contrast right there. And then the Tennessee whiskey, it was really just a shot just to wash everything down. Still had to throw some water to clear my palate afterwards. And it's funny, forgot to mention, in between the second and the third, or actually in the middle of the first course, they brought us some, was it Pinot Noir?
I think so. That's what it tasted like.
No, it was Pinot Grigio. They gave us some Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
It was a basic Pinot Grigio. Wasn't too bad, crisp, but it was weird because 1, it wasn't on the menu, but 2, they had already given us the whiskey. So in between courses, we're trying to figure out, do I drink the wine right now? Because I don't want to just leave the wine sitting here. I'm looking at the wine. I feel like I need to drink it, but the whiskeys were on deck. So we're like, I got to get the whiskey. It's a whiskey dinner. So that was interesting. And just funny story, you come into some characters when you go to a dinner like this. I didn't know what to expect. I thought we'd be able, at our own table, everybody gets their own meal. But no, we're at the same family table. So as a family table, there's different side conversations at a table like this. So I'm sitting next to somebody who's sitting at the head of the table, and his wife didn't want to come to this one because I think she didn't eat pork or something like that. And so this man was talking my head off all day. And every times where it was cool, but I went to spend time with my sister, talk to my sisters, so I'm half nodding to him, like, trying to be a good listener, but also having conversations with my sisters while he's still talking. But I think it was because the liquor was just hitting him, and so he was feeling good. You wanted to be social, but overall, it's still a good interaction. Joy, how did you feel interacting with people on on your side of the table?
It was cool, but kind of awkward, especially when I guess the shots were hitting so much that I stopped going from somewhat talkative to just quiet because I was zoning out a little bit.
Oh,
and
man.
I was trying to pay attention to the 3 people that were trying to talk to me at the same time, and it was a struggle, especially when it was time to leave. I never had so much whiskey before. It hit me like a truck. I only remember the flavor of maybe the first 2 things, because after that, it just...
Burnt your taste buds off?
Yeah. So I couldn't tell you the difference between them, except maybe one of them was smokier than the others. I would say the old fashioned was the smoothest.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a cocktail as opposed to straight whiskey.
It just kept burning, but it just burn.
I did forget to mention that they had I don't even know what you call them, whatever the whiskey version of a sommelier is. They had Jack Daniels representative there. He described the history of Jack Daniels and was there describing each whiskey, the history, how it was made, who made it, where it was made, some of Jack Daniels' travels and his life story. And maybe the first 7 minutes, everybody was listening, but then they started bringing the food, and he just started rapping. Long story short, so we're hearing, if we heard something that catch our attention, people would ask follow-up questions, but pretty much he was talking to himself after a few minutes. Especially the drinks we're hitting. We're like, we got too many things to focus on. We're not focusing on you giving us this history lesson right now. We're hungry, so that was pretty funny. But all in all, I think it was a good experience. The manager, John, was really nice, and obviously these events are pretty regular. It costs $125 per person after tax and tip. It's about $162 approximately. That's here in DC. So if you want to have a nice fulfilling dinner and be lit, I would recommend trying out one of these events at least once. Apparently they have like a rosé dinner before with fish or seafood menu, so that sounds like it would be interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to see what they have next. I don't know if I'll go every month like some of the other patrons, but every once in a while I wouldn't mind. Might be, if you got a girl or something, it might be a cute little date. Y'all don't even gotta go out afterwards. You already lit. So I think it was a good experience overall. Joe, any parting words?
I enjoyed the experience, and I guess kind of being forced to sit next to like a bunch of strangers also while drinking was, I guess, an interesting part.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just enjoying the food and trying some alcohol that I probably might not try on my own, like otherwise. But I would definitely do an event like that again. But I don't know if I would do a whiskey. Maybe a different spirit.
So long, farewell, till next time.
Bye.